time for chapter 13, Eye to Eye with a Shark. Around them, gulls called and dove. The water sparkled. Sarah put on her polarized sunglasses so that she could see beneath the sheen of the water. She thought about the sharks below. "Granddad, why don't we all go for a shark swim?" "I think we need some cheering up, and I never got to see the sharks here, remember?" Granddad smiled and called the others on the radio. Within an hour, many of the shark guards were at the site. They all put on their masks, snorkels, and fins and slid overboard. Chum appeared from several directions. The group waited for a glimpse of something they all understood was rare and beautiful. A black-tip shark darted into the area. He seemed nervous to Sarah. He swam back and forth, grabbing a piece of Chum. Then the Caribbean reef shark appeared, moving quickly. One very large female snatched a piece of fish from the path of a smaller shark. The Chum keeps coming, and the number of sharks increase. The mood of the sharks was different today. Sarah watched her grandfather's reactions carefully. He didn't seem concerned. A female, at least 10 feet long, shot out to the edge of the feeding area. Suddenly, she was back. With a flick of her tail and a turn of her fin, she sped in and out of the chummed area. Soon she grew bolder, cutting in front of the other sharks to seize the hunks of fish and meat. Her flexible body swung in an S-curve. Then the speed and movements of all the sharks began to pick up. Sarah feared there would be a feeding frenzy at any moment. The big shark approached the line of the swimmers. She swung her head from side to side and showed no fear of the humans. Sarah watched her grandfather and Bascom for any sign that things were getting out of hand. They still seemed unconcerned. Sarah's stomach muscles tightened. The 10-foot shark came closer and then still closer. She was heading directly for Sarah. Frozen, Sarah watched the shark approach. The shark was so close that Sarah could see the tiny pores around her head. She reached for her grandfather's hand. It was warm and strong. 6 inches from Sarah's mask, the shark stopped and turned. Sarah was eye to eye with one of the fiercest predators on earth. She willed herself to stay calm. She didn't wave her hands. She didn't flee back to the boat. Instead, she gripped her grandfather's hand and looked directly into the eye of the shark. The shark twisted and dove. Sarah watched the flawless skin of the shark pass just inches beneath her. There was a hoot from the other snorkelers. They cheered for her. She had become one of them. Sarah relaxed and breathed deeply through her snorkel. Her grandfather gave her hand a squeeze and released it. Then the big female re-entered the area. Chum was still coming from several boats, and sharks were passing in all directions. Fins held down. The sharks cut their V-shaped tails from side to side. Heads bobbed and teeth flashed as they sawed through larger chunks of fish. Next, the 10-foot female and a large male Caribbean reef shark sped toward the same chunk of chum. The female snatched it first. More chum fell nearby, and 2 sped toward each other again. Neither gave way. Right in front of Sarah, the 2 crashed together with a deafening sound. Sarah's fists were cramped from holding the rope so tightly. Again, she watched the others to see what she would do. No one left the water. Sarah prepared herself for the worst. She held on. She waited and waited, and nothing happened. The conflict was over. The 2 sharks sped off into deep water. "Phew," mumbled Sarah, relieved that everything had ended so well. She turned to go back to the boat, but just then 2 great hammerheads entered the circle of snorkelers. The hammerheads circled slowly. Their eyes set at each end of the hammer, were uniquely positioned to see the world. Sarah wondered, Why are they so different? Were they smarter or better than the other sharks somehow? Sarah watched as they fed on the few remaining pieces of chum, scanned the line of swimmers, and swam off into the shadows. The chum was gone. The remaining sharks' movements became smoother and more relaxed. Slowly, sharks and humans left the spot where a few minutes the two top predators on Earth had met without incident. Next time, Chapter 14, Looking Back.